Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 11th meeting of the Dudley Planning Board. Present this evening are member Richard Clark, member Steve Watroba, member Guy Horn, member David Durgan, and member Dan Edmiston, and town planner Josepha Chowdhury. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and ask everyone to join me and stand in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we take a moment of silence for 9/11 as well?
Yeah, also.
It's next on the agenda.
Oh,
Oh, you don't want to do, you want to do that, Stan?
Oh, can, oh, are we, oh, okay.
We can, if you'd like, sure.
Okay.
All right, everybody get back up. All right, join us, please, in a moment of silence for those who perished during the September 11th tragedy. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for remembering that. And you, Mr. Chairman, as well.
Okay, next on the agenda is approval of minutes from last month's meeting. Did everyone get a chance to go over the minutes? I did have one note. Did want to mention, I don't know if anybody else had anything? Everybody's, okay, so the only thing I wanted to mention was under the minutes there for new business, there is the discussion about the minor special permit from last month. It's inadvertently, I can find where it's referenced in here. I believe it was called an A&R somewhere in here that I saw. No, minor site plan review.
At the 8 Village Street property?
Yeah, the 8 Village Street thing. When I was
Minor, it was noted that it was a minor site plan review, it was under 8 units.
Yeah, okay. I was just looking at the minutes that was sent to me, and I did not. Yeah, here it is. Sorry, on down near the end. Let's see. Page 3. One of the paragraphs.
Richard Clark.
Yeah, it says, after reviewing the A&R application, it was determined that it was submitted and signed by Town Planner William Scanlon on July 5th, 2024. And at the end of the same paragraph, it says the board vote on the A&R. And then the next paragraph, 2 paragraphs down from that, again, it says board to vote to act on A&R. So basically, anywhere in the minutes where that section talks about A&R, if we could just make the correction that it was a minor site plan review. Other than that, I don't have a problem with the minutes.
Move to accept the minutes of August 14th with those corrections.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. It was unanimous, correct? I believe so. That was unanimous. Okay.
Two sets.
Yeah.
I'll start one.
We got them over here, Bill.
You got them both?
Yeah.
Richard.
Okay.
Okay. Two. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the A&R plan for Lot 5 Southeast Way. So at this time, I'm going to temporarily recuse myself from the proceedings.
Do we have someone who would care to present remarks regards to Sophie's Way? I don't think I have to move over there, do I? Mr. Horn?
Safe enough over here, thank you.
avoid the collision with the audio equipment.
Yes, it's James Smith.
Identify yourself first, please.
James Smith from Toper Land Survey.
All right, Mr. Smith, perhaps you could tell us what's going on here?
This is a parcel swap to correct a zoning setback issue for Lot 5 on Sophie's Way. It's a simple 2 parcels. One of them is going to your chairman, and the other one is going to Tony Cicada to correct the setback distance to the existing foundation. I apologize, I wasn't here last meeting, I was away on vacation.
Any questions from the board? Gentlemen. Mr. Horn is deep in thought. No? I do have maybe it's a generic question. I noticed on the checklist here, a number of waivers are indicated. Why, for example, would someone want to waive location of wetland resource area? And why would you ask for waivers, the number that you've had? It's just generically, my thought is that waivers are for several reasons. One is ambiguity. Second, maybe there's conflict in terms of an existing bylaw or another department or somebody else or something somewhere out there. Or thirdly, that maybe there's just something so overwhelmingly wonderful that we can't not take it. I don't know, it seems that these things come to us very randomly, like street names and numbers of all the butters are waived. It seems very arbitrary in terms of what people are asking to be waived, and I just wondered if you as the applicant at this time, maybe you could explain to us why it is you're asking for waivers on some of these issues and what your thought process was there.
Because they're inconsequential.
Inconsequential. So we shouldn't bother to list them.
Okay, so the question is this a subdivision?
Yes.
This is not a subdivision.
Well, this is not, this particular
Correct.
situation, right?
No.
But it is part of a whole, if we think of it as a whole, it's Sophie's Way. I'm thinking of
The
it.
plan in front of you, is it a subdivision? That's my question.
No,
No. So you're obligated to sign it.
okay. So effectively, you feel justified in waiving any and all of these?
Yes.
You would?
Yep, I do.
Oh, it's interesting, very informative.
And the same thing with your requirement to have taxes. That is inconsequential to the A&R process.
Not inconsequential to the town.
That's a different issue.
All right, well, as
That's
a
a totally different
taxpayer, I take exception with that comment.
So, well, that's fine, right? But that is not what Mass General Law says. If you believe this is not a subdivision, you are bound to sign the plan.
I understand that.
Okay.
I don't particularly like it, but I understand it. Thank you for the education. I appreciate your input.
I'm just being honest.
All right, well, let's move the matter. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept the waivers for Sophie's Way. They're looking for a waiver of 6D, name and street numbers of all abutters. 6E, topography of the land at contours of interval of 2 feet. Location of wetland resources, which is 6G. 6H is the approximate boundary lines of proposed lots with approximate area and dimensions, square feet, build factors, and conform with regulations. And also 6J, the profile of existing grades of proposed access to the lot.
Your motion, Mr. Horn, is there a
that's my
second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Abstain? I guess you had your A&R. We approved the waivers, now we have to approve the A&R as a whole. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Horn, do you care to make a motion on that?
The original.
Say that again?
I'm passing the original, right? If it's approved.
If it's approved, yeah, somebody will sign it off. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the plan of land at 5 Sophie's Way.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 3-1. All right, we have to sign some documents then.
That's in the bottom.
Having voted against, am I still signing this?
Yeah, I
Pass
think,
pass it
I
down.
think you guys should sign it then.
You're the next highest ranking officer here.
Like the bylaw, the actual law.
With you? All right, just my signature.
The actual law that states that you
No,
have
no,
to-
no, the
Mylar.
Mylar. that
No,
you-
I dropped it off.
I need two paper copies signed.
Did you sign this and you voted against or not?
Richard, did
think
you
everybody has to
abstain
sign
from the approval or just vote no?
No.
This is why we have a housing crisis.
Sorry. Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but
Comes from when boards make it difficult to actually do things that they're bound to do.
I think you're going away with what you asked for. Is that not the case?
We're a month shy.
Well, a month ago, we had nothing. You've at least
You
given
had the
us,
plan.
you've given us something now.
You had a plan that met state standards, that didn't constitute a subdivision. I'm just saying.
Yes, you are.
Yep, yes, I am.
Well, you didn't say there was wetlands anywhere, so you might have had to go through conservation too. We didn't know that.
That's inconsequential.
Consequently, we have to go through wetlands.
Wetlands, taxes, everything's
They're two
inconsequential
permitted,
if it's in our
they're
way.
two permitted lots. We're swapping a parcel. I'm not trying to be argumentative.
I think I heard that, yeah.
No, I'm trying not to be argumentative.
All right.
I'm really
then
trying
you
not to.
Might need to try a little harder.
Yeah, okay. That's not right to do to people. I'm just telling you.
I'm sorry?
It's not right to do that to people.
Not right to do it.
What's the problem here?
The problem is
You didn't fill out the form last time, okay?
So-
You
so-
didn't come to the meeting. What's the problem?
so
Don't understand.
I called, I left a message, I asked if everything was all set.
Right.
I got a phone call back from your secretary, the Concom secretary saying, everything is all set, you're on the agenda.
Right.
I couldn't make the meeting, I sent a representative from the office. The plan is no different than what it was when it was in front of you before.
Paperwork wasn't filled out. We can't do anything unless the paperwork is properly filled out, man. Sorry, that's the town of Dudley's rules.
Right,
It says
but
right
you
in
can't supersede Mass General law, that's what I'm
It
saying.
does.
The town does?
We do it all the time, yeah.
You supersede the.
All the time.
All right,
Okay,
Mr.
I'm
Durkee.
glad that's on record.
All right, I think the issue is, the matter is resolved, and we thank you for having come in and presented, and we'll look forward to seeing you again at some point, I'm sure.
Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Could I have the Mylar?
Mr. Chairman, would you care to resume the exalted chair?
All right, so let the record show that I have rejoined the meeting. And next item on the agenda is, oh good, another A&R plan, Lot 191, Oxford Avenue. The applicant, there you go. It's all right. We're a fun bunch of guys.
I don't know.
All right, so go ahead and why don't you run us through exactly what we're doing here.
So basically, I'm just looking to split that lot. That's all I'm really looking to do.
lots 1 and 2 out of a single lot. That's
Yes.
okay. And the only 2 waivers you're asking for are no wetlands. Oh, you have a wetland, note here, no wetlands based on a WPA Form 2, dated 11/9/2023, and a letter by Matthew Morrow to 7/18/2024. And he's asking for existing grade profile at proposed access. So basically a driveway access, but you're. Topography doesn't show like there's any major issues with the access.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, questions for the applicant?
Go ahead.
All righty. I noticed location of wetlands is not listed, but you're not that far from the river, are you?
I have no idea where the river is.
I think it's just across the road,
Is it?
just a bit, yeah. The actual distance I'm not aware of, but it's in fairly close proximity. I don't know if anyone has taken a look at that area recently, but I think there's still some water there. And again, I think you're probably far enough away from it not to be an issue, but
Okay.
it's just, I'm surprised you're not aware that it's there.
I've never seen it. Never even noticed it.
French River?
Never even noticed it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's pretty far from the road by the time you get that far down Oxford Ave.
Well,
This is down by the
no,
solar
this-
field.
Yeah, this one is not directly, that's the next lot down, as you're coming towards Dudley, that is, I think, directly across
This one,
from.
Locust.
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is right across the river, but he's not.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
also a
Yeah.
note from Matt Morrow saying no wetlands.
Yeah, no, I'm okay.
Yeah,
I
and
just,
just
awareness.
speaking in generalities, I wouldn't have handled it the same way as the previous applicant did, but that previous A&R, it was 100% upland.
Okay.
So, just to answer your question, that might be an example of why an applicant might request a waiver for, what is that number?
Wetlands.
Yeah, location of wetlands, because why
Well,
not
then we
waive it
have-
if you,
Right, but we
Yeah,
don't.
but it
it's
says
certified
that you
wood.
indicated in there, I believe it is, no wetlands on lot number. There is a stipulation, there are no wetlands on lot number, must appear in the plan notes. So there is a stipulation on the checklist, if you will, to cover the eventuality, at least.
right, so I think what I'm trying to say is that probably the correct response, instead of getting into a fight over stuff that was fought over, why not just say, well, it's a 100% upland lot, there are no wetlands present.
Okay,
And then that way you might feel better about granting such a waiver, as an example.
all right.
Or, depending on which waiver it is. In other words, it might be a reason.
And also, if you want the wetlands delineated, it costs money because you have to hire a wetland specialist to come out and mark it.
Right.
And a regular survey don't usually do that.
Mhm.
So it's an additional cost to the applicant.
All right.
Right. But getting back to the one at hand, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, were you all set?
Yeah.
Anybody else have any more questions or comments? Okay, yes, we're looking for a motion to approve the A&R.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the A&R for the 191 Oxford Ave property, correct address? They approve the waivers, I'm sorry, we approve the waivers for the two waivers requested for the 191.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the 2 waivers requested.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we've approved the waivers unanimously. Do we have a motion?
I move that we approve the A&R for the property at 191 Oxford Ave, as requested.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Clark. We have a second from Mr. Durgan. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous? See, I told you it wouldn't be bad.
Oh, that was intimidating. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Who's signing what? Oh, why don't you leave that over there?
Okay.
That's what we've done before.
I'll leave it alone.
I got one, you got one, Dick?
Do we usually give the extra ones back to the applicant?
We got, copies?
Got two going.
Two going there?
This way.
Thank you. So, thank you. So, how does this work now? So,
You seen the second one? No.
Mr. Clark.
okay.
Is there one short? Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? I'm here.
This one I think you already got.
No, I didn't sign it.
Didn't sign it, okay. All right, oh, killed a tree or two, but we're all leaving. There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Flipping back and forth.
Take care.
Good night. Take this agenda out. Hey, give a second for Josie for join us in case there's anything.
Yeah, we buried her in paper.
Standard business. Okay, moving on to standard business. See, discussions, status report on finishing construction of acceptance and unaccepted subdivision streets, including Pierpont Estates. Anything for Pierpont, anything for Rocky Hill, anything for Country View Estates, Tobin Farm Estates, Lyons Estates, or Sophie's Way. Is,
No, I don't think so.
okay, is there anyone here to, no, okay. All right, next, board, did the board have any comments on any of those? No, okay, great. Next, inspections and actions associated with site plans, Legacy Landing / Country Club Acres. Okay, all right, so we have some people here that want to speak regarding that this evening. Any of the board members have anything to say, or do we want to
I
just?
think, Mr. Chairman, it's been
Oh, that's
practice
right.
that I recuse myself on this.
It's a night of recusal.
It is, it is.
All right, so,
You wanna
At this-
just go through the rest of them, so that we can, if we don't have anything else, we just take them at the end and it's done.
you want to do that?
Do one at a time, because he's already accused, so.
Yeah.
I didn't see
Right.
him first.
He- Richard already left. I'd hate for him to miss out on some good solar panel talk, so. All right, at this point, I'd like to invite anyone who would like to come up to the microphone. Please sign in on the sign-in sheet, and then I ask you to state your name and address for the record.
Are you gonna be talking about that? No.
Well, not really, no.
No, so you might have to wait for the question mark.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to just sign in on that sheet right in front of you, sir?
Oh, sure. Okay.
And if you could just state your name and address for the,
For the record, my name is Mitch Bodnerchuk.
My address is 18 Country Club Boulevard.
You object to us referring to you as just Mitch?
Mitch, yeah?
Okay. All right, Mitch, what brings you here this evening?
Well, what it is our builder is, coming to completion and really only has 2 outstanding items that he's finishing off. One of them is installing 3 light poles in the community, and the other one is the final paving of the roads. So as the board decided, well, how do you bring a site project like this to closure? It was just sort of a question. And we've been doing some digging and chatting with the planning folks and discovered that there is a bond for $494,000. And the preparer of the bond looked at, there were 2 drawings, site drawings prepared by Grenier, I believe. I got the information here. And hold on a second. Graves Engineering prepared the estimate that came up with the $494,000.
Okay.
So my question is, will he be called back just to review the sites and make sure that everything was prepared as drawn?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
He's not let off the hook just because he comes in and says, hey, guys, I'm done. You know.
Well, we didn't think so either, so that's why we kind of did some digging.
Yeah, we would get a final report from Graves Engineering. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And if there were any deficiencies in that report, those would have to be corrected before he could, again, before the board would sign off on completion of the project.
Okay. So that's all I wanted to do, just was confirm what the process was.
Yeah.
And, just so that we could be involved at the end.
I see someone who's got a question over here.
Mr. Chairman, as an abutter, I believe there is some landscaping that is yet to be done on the properties that abut my property. I haven't seen anything happening there, and I believe there was indication there should have been a fence coming in off of Airport Road.
Oh, yes.
I haven't seen that either. So there, they mentioned 2 things that needed to be finished, and I submit that there may be more than 2.
Absolutely. I would say, I'm pretty sure that when we get that report from Graves, let's say that the builder says, I'm done. And he says, I'd like to get the final report. I'd like you guys to come out and check it and inspect it to make sure everything's done. I'm venture to guess that you would be present, Mr. Clark?
Is that
Very good possibility. So, and even if you weren't, I think we most likely would catch something that's missing.
Well, there is one other issue that...
In other words, I guess the point I'm trying to make, I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is right now, I'm not that concerned about several items that aren't finished, only because we've received no application from the builder saying that he is done.
Oh,
So in other words, right now, it's not like he's come forward and said, hey, guys, I'm done. And then you guys come in and say, wait a minute, there's several things that aren't done here, that he didn't do yet. That's not the case. Case as it stands before us right now is the project is still ongoing and he's working on it. If he's not working at the pace that, he might be working at a pace slower than you would prefer. That doesn't mean that he's stopped working on it. And so that would be my, I hope that answers your question, and I hope that assuages your concern for the time being.
well, yeah, I've looked at all of this, and there's definitely things not done. And
that's the kind of thing that the engineer, our engineer, Graves Engineering, he does the final inspection, he does the peer review, and he works for the town. He doesn't work for that
Yes.
builder.
Yes.
So he's not gonna have any pity for the guy doing the construction if he's missing stuff or he's done stuff wrong.
Okay.
He's gonna put it in the report and report back to us.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yes. We'll see what isn't done, and we'll deal with it at that time.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So there's nothing to look at.
Was there anyone else?
Yeah, Will?
I have some questions.
Sure, go ahead.
I mean, as far as that,
Sir, if you could first please sign in, and then just give us your name and address for the record.
Bill Payton, 20 Country Club Boulevard. Okay, so you mentioned the fence at the Airport Road entrance. I was told by the broker when I bought the house there was gonna be a fence or trees at the other side, at the other entrance too, to Dudley Hill Road.
Okay.
Where I live is the last house, and there's an unsightly house right across the street from me that the broker assured me I wouldn't have to look at because the town was making him put up trees or a fence.
So my first question that I would have, not necessarily for you, but just thinking out loud here is, because that plan originally came to the board before I was on the board, was that something that was agreed to in a previous meeting and is on the plan? In other words, we just talked about how the engineer, the town engineer will go out there and he'll look to make sure everything's completed. Well, he's not gonna write down that, oh, there's no fence there, if there isn't supposed to be a fence there, and he's gonna go by what's in the plan and what was approved, so.
So they could have just lied to me.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not gonna accuse anybody of lying. So my question is, have you seen the plan recently?
No.
No, okay. Do we have a copy with us tonight?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So I think we should just take a look at the plan right now, see if there's supposed to be a fence there. If that's the case, then I would say we have to make sure that that fence gets put in before we sign off on anything.
Okay, so I've had some
And if there's
other-
no fence on there, unfortunately, I think it might be, yeah.
So I've had some other major problems with the house. So what I was hoping was the town was going to back me, because it's been a year now. I have to have all the wood floors replaced.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. You're not gonna like my answer.
I know that
And it's not that I don't wanna help you. It's not that the board doesn't wanna help you. Anything to do with the actual construction of the house itself falls out of the jurisdiction of this board. And I'm not even sure myself whether or not it even falls under the building department's jurisdiction unless it's structural in nature. In other words, I don't know what your issue is with your floors, you know, if you don't like that the way they look or the way they were
That's
put
not
in, or, you know,
That's
but
not it.
it's beyond the scope of this board. So,
Okay, so what about the cracks in my wall? That's structural, right?
So that would-
Engineering?
that would be, I would talk to the building inspector about that.
Okay.
And he would love to hear that I told you that.
There should be a warranty from the developer for a year, I think it is.
Well, yes, and I've been chasing them for a year. This is,
It's over a year then?
well, my date is October 6th, is when I moved in. I signed the papers.
So you still got a couple of weeks?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just have to put the complaint in. I would
It's
think.
getting down to the wire.
Yeah, I think it was just the complaint that you'd have to put in. Check with the building inspector, he'll be able to answer. I don't know exactly who to complain to.
Okay,
But I think by law, you have a year warranty on brand new
right,
houses.
right.
You were, I believe, on the board back then, right? You probably read this better than I can as far as like what we're looking at. So this is what, is this Airport Road over here? Okay, so then this must be, you're talking about the entrance back on Dudley Hill Road?
Right.
Okay. Introduce glasses on here. So this must be, well, I'm looking at two abutting properties.
One's probably the church.
The church is right here, that's an easy one because it's round. This has got to be the,
Old Hooters house.
yeah, this has got to be the property.
There's nothing for a fence.
Yeah, there's nothing, there's the roadway.
It's not a fence.
And a fence, yeah. Proposed open space easement, variable width.
I mean, like this house still has the gates and stuff on there, I think we put those in.
What was the purpose of that?
We were gonna have it like, these people would come in this way and these people would come in this way.
Okay.
Only the fire trucks could go through.
But that was a change that was made, right? That the decision was made that,
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought I remembered that this, that they,
2001.
yeah, I thought that,
2021.
I thought I remembered at some point, somebody actually didn't like that idea.
I think fire chief didn't like it.
Right. But that has nothing to do with,
So there could be a.
that's nothing to do with
There
this.
could be a newer plan than this. This plan's March 17th, 2021. Do we have a newer
This is
plan?
March 2022.
Oh, that's a lot newer.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think this one is done. It's a big one.
Okay.
And this is the same thing, I think.
It's just a lot.
Oh, this is just a,
Oh, is that the plan? No.
lot.
And then this is what it is, and then these are just the different maps for the. I think this is the plan.
Show any detail?
There is, but it's not.
These are just different ones. That's like this one's topography like that.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
This is like the different topography.
What's the date on this thing?
Should be on the first page. 18. That's old.
That's even older. I'm just curious whether or not there was a fence back then.
These like mics are. Yeah, there's no date on this one.
Don't see anything. That's all you've got, right?
There's this one, but there's no date on this one. That's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, another 2018, it's another old one.
That's all I have.
So all the plans we have on file do not show that fence in existence?
Okay.
All the plans that we have on file, they don't show that fence that you're talking about, the privacy fence there?
Oh, yeah, they do. The first, the older drawing I've got right here, shows a fence coming from the entrance off the airport road all the way down to the corner of par 5.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the fence that would shield the property. I thought we were talking about on Dudley Hill Road.
Oh, no, that I don't see on the plans.
Okay, which fence were you concerned about?
There's a fence shown on the entryway from Airport Road,
Yes,
and it goes from the edge of the Airport Road all the way down to the corner of par 5 lane next to the mailboxes.
okay. Yeah, we do still, that still is on the plan, so that should be made. That should be,
Yeah, I was talking about Dudley Hill Road side.
Okay.
That house on the corner, I was told when I bought the house that the town was making them put either fence or trees there. I wouldn't have to look at that house.
but you were told that by your broker.
Not my broker.
Oh.
From the Legacy Place, from Country Club Estates.
Okay, all right. All I can tell you is we don't, all I can tell you is that what we have for plans on file don't show the fence that you're talking about.
Okay.
Any
Well,
proposed
that
fence.
surprised me, I guess. You lied about everything else. All right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, don't the plans and the order conditions have to get recorded in the registry of deeds or something similar like that? So there has to be a plan, a set of approved plans, we have to have them, and they should be with the registry of deeds, right? So all you need to do is go there and pick up the plans, and they'll let you know what's going on.
You don't even have to actually go there and pick them up. You can actually look at them online. You can go to the Worcester Registry of Deeds website and you can search you can search for registered plans,
Okay.
and would be under what, country club?
I don't know about that, I just know that it has to be recorded. The order conditions and the plans are recorded to make it legal, everything's recorded
Yeah,
in
it would be
someplace.
under Country Club Acres LLC. If you
Under,
search them.
yeah, if you search under owner, Country Club Acres LLC, and you can narrow the search, you can hit advanced, and you can narrow the search to the town of Dudley, that way you don't have to see everything.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay, well, thank you.
okay. Thank you. All right, was there anything else regarding Country Club LLC? Sorry. All righty. Legacy Landing Country Club Acres is what I meant to say. All right, so moving along. Next on the agenda is SEP Solar, Oxford Ave. Anything new on that?
Nope.
No?
There was something, wasn't there? No? On the agenda? No. Yeah, there was last week.
Next up is JD&D, 24 Oxford Ave. Anything there?
Nope.
Okay, so at last meeting, it was in the minutes, actually, I think I brought it up, we talked about, we were gonna ask, the owner whether or not they're done and they're ready to come forward, because there was some question.
Okay.
Because the property is now for sale, I think, was what, Richard, was that you? I think you.
Yeah, I think that, I
noticed
believe
that.
there was a sign there. I'm not sure that it's still there, but there, at one time had been.
But it's sitting there, nothing seems to be going on, so I think it's something we'd like to wrap up. Wouldn't you agree, gentlemen? If we can get it off the books. So
Contact the owner.
please contact the owner and tell him if he's not ready for final, then we would like to know what the delay is.
And does, do you know, do you have, when his thing expires, what's this, site plan? It's a site plan. Yeah. It expires, right? Do you know, do you have, when it expires, his site plan? I know we just renewed it recently.
Yeah, so that would be, add that also to your,
Yeah.
yeah. Because if it's coming up close and he's not gonna make it, he needs to come in and ask for an
An
extension.
extension, gotcha.
All right, great. Good catch, David. All right, next up, Stevens Mill. Anything new going on there? I saw on social media some people talking about, they saw a lot of activity there, but I don't know if that's mostly just tied to the village.
I think that was the infrastructure issue.
Sure, yeah,
in the
right.
area.
They're using that, I think, as a staging.
It did get my blood pressure up a little bit to see the activity. It was encouraging to see something going on there,
Something.
but not the something we were looking for.
Okay. All right, next up, solar project at the landfill.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about this one.
All right, so my question, David, do you think you should recuse yourself regarding?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
You want
so,
me to go sit over there, or can I stay here?
we made Richard sit in the little corner.
Award the seat, or you can use the mic. Just while Mr. Durkin's relocating himself, just the Dudley Housing Authority, that was the parking lot issue, as I recall. Is there anything pending on that? Anything still to be resolved or decided on that, or is that a?
Oh, that's, you jumped on the list, that's no fair.
Oh, okay, all right, I apologize. I'm out of order.
Okay, so the chair recognizes, well, actually, David, you,
So, when these guys came before this board, they said that the site work was gonna be limited to just that gravel road around the site plan and the piles of gravel to hold up the balusters that hold up the actual solar array. But obviously through our reports, we got pictures of them excavating.
so I looked at that photograph,
Yeah.
and I noticed if you look at that trench really closely, what I see in that trench is I see the sides of the very same blocks that they said that they were gonna put the gravel under. So am I wrong, or doesn't that look like it is exactly what they said they were gonna do?
What?
That photograph,
It's sand.
no. Let me just see what you got there.
You talking about when it's going over the blocks? this one too. Yeah, there's 12 inches of sand and 8 inches of dirt on top of it. At least on the hills there are. I don't know about the middle.
See how sharp this line is right here? I
Yeah,
thought that
'cause
that
it's
was
a-
the edge. I thought these were the blocks that they're talking about. And
Yeah.
I thought they were just excavating down to
Yeah.
put the gravel in
Yeah, I
here.
see
You're
what you're
saying
saying.
these aren't the blocks?
No, this is excavation. And I talked to Graves about it on the phone.
I'm not doubting you that it's not excavation.
Well, he
What I'm-
did.
What
The-
I'm saying is, I saw something in there about that they said they were going to be putting gravel or crushed stone or something underneath blocks.
Right, that's for
So
the,
I thought these were the
Right.
blocks holding up this hill. And I thought they were excavating here to put the gravel or the crushed stone in. So that's why I thought they're doing exactly what they said they were gonna do. What do you think, Dan? Does that look like,
It looked like blocks.
see how sharp that line is?
That looks like a concrete.
To me, that looks like blocks.
it's 3 feet deep in the grass. That's excavated, there's a big excavator right there.
I understand, but if they said, we're gonna put crushed stone under the blocks.
Right, but there's
If the
not- this is
blocks
the
are
middle.
3 feet deep,
This is they're not 3 feet deep. It's crushed, it's the grass, and they have like 2 feet, maybe not even 2 feet, but crushed stone, and then they have a ballast on that, the cement thing on that, and then they have the solar array, I guess it's called, I don't know, the solar panel.
is this pit open?
This is the middle,
Is this open now?
Is it open?
The trench?
Oh, no, this is from, I think this is last year's picture, this is.
Oh, so I was gonna say,
July.
because if the trench is open, it's simple enough, one of us could just take a drive out there, take a peek and go, oh, that's
If
a
I may,
block.
Mr. Duca, how many of these, that photo obviously is of one location? How many were there similar to that, or are there others?
How many photos?
No, in terms of what you've identified as what you believe to be an excavation, how many other locations? Was that just one?
Oh, that's just the middle, the entire middle of you got the 2 lobes, that's the middle.
The middle?
When was that
But they said they
photograph?
weren't touching the drainage at all, and they weren't excavating at all.
When was that photograph taken?
Oh, I don't know, this was July, maybe?
And that was taken
This
by-
is in our reports.
And that was taken by Graves?
No, this was taken by Bob Bukowski, probably.
Oh, that's right, because Graves couldn't do it because of the conflict, right? So
Yeah, which this guy's is even bigger conflict of interest.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get into that. So, yeah, I
And I
mean,
talked to Mary Jude from the DEP, and their permit, their use permit for the landfill, so they could do this work, they didn't have any excavation on there at all either. And she was looking into it, so.
but I specifically remembered seeing something regarding that the only excavation they would be doing would be to place, I can't remember if it was crushed stone
Yeah.
or gravel
It was crushed. Yeah.
underneath the blocks.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said.
And I still think that I'm looking at blocks there. Now, the only way we could tell for sure
no,
is if they dug it back up today.
If you, no, you can look up the other reports, pictures in the other reports. I should have sent that to you earlier, but if you go through all the other reports, you have the pictures of an actual solar array. Can you pull that up at all? But you have the pictures of the actual thing that you're talking about, the gravel and then the ballast on top and holding up the solar array. This is excavation that shouldn't have been done and was done. And this liner thing here in the middle, that's not a liner. Graves Engineering said that that's what they put in the middle. It does something with drainage. It helps it out, helps it drain.
I'm sorry, Graves said that?
Because Graves went down. John Ruda sent Graves down after I asked him to. And Graves went down there and said there was supposed to be no regrading or anything, and he says that there was no regrading. But these are proof, these are pictures that it's a 3-foot hole that this guy's standing in.
So we have 2 engineers that disagree with your assessment of what has happened there.
We have one engineer that provided these pictures to us, and Graves Engineer, by the time, if you go down there right now, it doesn't look like it was dug up. It doesn't look like there was an excavation, it's just, I think it's just gravel over there in the middle now.
All right. So what are you asking of the board?
I'm not asking anything, I'm just telling the board that they said that there wasn't gonna be any excavation in this landfill, and there's excavation, there's a 3-foot hole that they dug in the middle. And at the end of the thing, at the end of this drain, there's supposed to be a spreader that spreads the things evenly, but there's, you know, some kid probably rode their dirt bike up there off the jump, and there's like a river that goes through just the corner of where it was damaged. And you can't see it right now because it's so overgrown, but I have pictures from, you know, before they started. This is even before they started, that there was that little thing, but now it's like really, really going in there like a river, like a canyon.
Oh,
The problem that I have with it is that this is a tier 1, classified as a tier 1 PFAS site, and that we should be, as a town, we should be making sure that that water stays on the property, on the landfill property, because right now it's just flowing right into that river, I mean, not the river, that, there's like a pond, Niger Pond, which goes into Carpenter Pond, which flows all the way down to Packard Pond, which is on
so why is this not a conservation issue?
You got me, man.
That's the board I would go to.
Or even Board of Health if it's PFAS related.
Oh, good
Board
point.
felt doesn't matter.
Have you been before the Board of Health with this?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with private wells.
Well, actually, as we're finding, well, as of the Board of Selectmen's meeting on Monday, representatives from DEP were here, and one of the areas of concern is identified as the Eagle Drive property, and apparently both town and Gentex have accepted responsibility for that, and I would assume that what you're talking about is actually the source of some of that PFAS. Is that too much of an assumption to make?
Well,
I mean, is it coming from the landfill, or has the landfill been determined?
Well, it's coming from the
that-
landfill, because if you go to the beginning of the landfill where they have all the, their, what's that crap? The refuge, what you need a sticker for? Recycle center, transfer center.
Transfer
If you
station.
go up there, the water flows through the landfill,
Okay.
and that bottom well is tested as high as 1,198 parts.
Okay, so that, I guess, would indicate that as a source as far as PFAS is concerned, because that water
This
is...
drainage isn't going that way.
I'm far
This
from
drainage
expert
is
on
going the other
I'm
way.
far from an expert on that, from being an expert on that.
That site's already being taken care of, because that's going into the vernal pool, which is spreading that way, whatever.
Well, there are plans for the Eagle Drive site. That's
Right.
what, 34 out of 39 wells were identified as having contamination?
That's WEPCO. This is,
Well, okay, so wrong number.
All right.
this is 59.
All right, so gentlemen, at this point, I'm gonna suggest that we, I don't think there's any action we can take here.
Well, you can ask Bobby Bukowski if he dug up this site, excavated.
Well, we have a report already from him, though. So what are we asking? Do you want us to ask?
That it's not, that this is standing on balusters.
So we have a report from him, and we have photographs from him, so he obviously knows what happened there. Do you have a specific question you would like us to ask the engineer?
Yeah, why is the planning board allowing him to excavate this without him contacting us?
And what if he comes back and he says that they're doing the exact amount of excavation that they said they were gonna do? Those are cement blocks, and they're just putting the gravel underneath them in these photographs.
That's obviously not the case.
See, I don't think it's an obvious. Dan, what do you think? You've looked at
So the
pictures
grass
now.
just magically grew on top of the block, Steve?
Well,
There's grass around the block.
the blocks might not be at, the top of the blocks don't necessarily have to be
Block
above
sand. It
grade.
doesn't even look like a block. I wish we could, did you pull it up?
No.
To show Steve the picture?
So typically, if you're gonna put any kind of crushed stone or gravel or something underneath a heavy element, be it a foundation or footing or whatever else, that stone, crushed stone, has to be compacted. You just don't place it there and put weight on it, you have to compact it. So
Okay.
you have to have a free open space, you have to compact and whatever else you wanna put on it, you put on it afterwards. So
In other words, you wouldn't excavate underneath
you wouldn't
blocks to
excavate
put.
underneath.
Okay.
The only
all
way
right.
you could do something like that would be if it was an existing condition, maybe an existing foundation, old one, and you would pump something in, you would pump grout, or you would pump some kind of concrete in, something that's gonna flow and fill all the voids.
Okay.
And then become more hard. So I don't think that's the case. I think it's just a very dry ground, and then you're seeing clean lines from the excavator.
Okay.
Oh, it's sand. It's
Well, it's still
drainage.
sand, yeah.
Drainage.
Okay.
So what, I think one course of action that we could take is that they're trenching something there, obviously, and they're putting something in. When you were talking about drainage, I was thinking maybe it would be some kind of a grade drain. Grade drain is usually some kind of a perforated pipe, and then groundwater enters into that, flows through the pipe, and it relieves so if you have downhill flow, you could theoretically put that in the middle of the hill, and it would relieve some of the flow going down the hill and divert it into some other area where you want the water to be stored at.
Sort of like what they do with a retaining wall, where they put they put some
Correct.
sort of a drain behind the wall
Yeah,
to
exactly.
keep water from building up behind it and putting pressure on the wall.
Exactly. But it looks to me like that, whatever they're putting in there is more flexible. It's not actually a perforated pipe, it's something that's flexible. At first, I thought it was some sort of filter fabric or something.
That's what Graves was, well, I don't know what exactly he called it, but it was like some kind of filter fabric that spreads it out evenly. But that's not the point. The point is, they said they weren't excavating. They told the DEP, they told us that they weren't excavating. And they're obviously dug a 3-foot trench there.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we could do is, how should I say this? Simply ask them what is being shown, what work is being performed in this photo.
Okay.
And then when they say, hey, we are
Well, it says,
installing whatever that happens to be they're installing, then we can do a follow-up question. Well, how long, if they're following, I don't know what that is. Does it say it's some kind of a trenched filter fabric for drain? And they say, well, we're installing filter fabric for the drain. And we say, well, what was the extent of the work? You know, we see that it's a long trench, what was the extent of it?
So do you want to ask the contractor who did the work what they were doing? Or do you want to ask the engineer who did the report and looked at it?
engineer,
I would say the engineer took the photo.
I would agree with that. So you want to put that in a motion?
Might not even, it might be already written in the report. This is from July or August of last year. We have the reports. I mean, I have the reports. I will email them to you, so you guys have the reports too, but you guys obviously have the reports if I have them. Been here longer than me for all of you guys, so.
I don't know. I can't find
Well, actually,
anything
you
in
might
that
not have them,
office.
because you did take some time off. But Guy and Dan and Richard have them.
I'd have to go back and look through my paperwork and try to refresh my
It says right
memory.
in the bottom picture, trenching work continued in the middle of the trench.
Trenching work to me is ambiguous. I get what you're getting at,
Yeah.
but I think that if my suggestion would be, let's find out exactly what they say they're doing.
Yeah.
And then if they're saying we're digging a hole then you know the trench is confined to a smaller area. And if they say we're doing this to something else, be it a grade drain or whatever else, now you know it's a larger area. Now we can start asking follow-up questions about the extent of it.
Right.
And once we have them basically telling us what the extent of it is, then we can go back to what was allowed, and we'll have them on record in some way, shape, or form. That would be my recommendation, because
I mean, the thing I would say is this was approved in 2022, which is 2 years ago, or
Yeah.
close to 2 years ago. And I mean, the requirements for these kind of projects change all the time. I mean, we had a bylaw for solar fields where we said that you had to have a 6-foot high fence around the solar field. And before the first solar field got put up, the bylaw, the rules and regulations changed with, I believe it
Right, I
was
remember
the state of
Oxford Ave.
Massachusetts, and they said you had to have a 7-foot fence or an 8-foot fence. But I mean, like, you know, it could have been in 2022 when they applied for this application, they said that we didn't have to do any digging or excavating because we don't have to, we don't have to do anything. But now if they're being told that they have to run all their wires or their mains that are collecting the power from the panels back to the transformers,
That's all on top.
that's all on top?
Yeah.
So you think this was just a drainage issue?
Well, that's what the report said. It's a drainage. I mean,
So then let's ask them what it was about.
my only concern is that they said they weren't going to, and they did it, and then they gave us pictures and told us after. We should, on their post-closure permit for the DEP, they have to inform the DEP that of any kind of change like that, and they didn't know either. So
All right, somebody make a motion, somebody second it, and we'll vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we inquire with the engineer for the Town of Dudley landfill, what the excavation was in the photographs that were shown here tonight, and ask him for an explanation exactly why it was done and what the reasoning was for behind it, and if it was a change to the original plan. See if it was a change.
Okay?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 So we got 4 ayes, and David abstains.
401.
All right, next is Dudley Housing Authority. Richard, you had something?
Well, I obviously jumped the gun earlier, but in anticipation of getting one of these things off the list, which is perpetual list, so to speak, that was the parking lot, wasn't it? And I think that's been done some time ago.
Okay.
I don't know if there's anything,
Check in to see if that's
Put
still-
that one, yep,
Yep.
put that one on your to-do list.
I don't think there's anything left that's pertaining to that.
We'd love to close that one out, if we could scratch that one off. Okay, next up, Planner's Plate.
I have nothing.
We have nothing. Comments from the planning board. I have something, but I'd rather let everybody else, if anybody else has anything, to go first.
I wanted to ask about the alternate member, or I think we wanted to reach out to Mr. Shinaki and see if he was amendable to participating in that role. And then if so, we need to make a recommendation and put it in front of the Board of Selectmen, correct?
That's correct. I believe we just received some correspondence. So let me start out by saying at the last meeting, I misspoke for Bill LePage. I think I said something along the lines of that I didn't think he was interested in coming back to planning board because of, that he was, just took a position on conservation. I guess since then, he has informed me, and I guess he sent a letter, I think.
Yeah, he sent an email.
And we've received an email
A
from,
letter formed together, like a letter attachment with the email.
do you have a copy of it?
I think it's.
Mr. LePage was just here.
Yeah, he was,
I don't think he's left.
yeah, I think we wore him out. Well, he had that conservation.
We do that for a lot of people. Well, I do that anyway.
It's here, I think.
You think it's all, in all our binders?
No. This was,
Agenda, but I did send it,
Yeah, this
to you
was-
and Richard
yeah.
Oh, you did?
last week.
Okay.
I sent it
Oh,
to your
did you-
Dudley.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't even know.
In here? It's not in here.
You know how to get into your Dudley email there?
No.
Like, look at my laptop.
Do you want me to go grab a copy of it?
If you don't mind, just because, since, I guess we're gonna make a decision about it.
Or we can hold out till the next
So,
one.
well, Mr. Durgan, I believe, was going to approach Mr. Shinaki.
Yeah, I already did. I emailed you guys.
Okay, and so we've got, we're looking
Yeah, it's fighting
at two
for it.
candidates.
Oh. Come in.
I don't know how much of a fight it is.
Let's duke it out.
All right, while we're waiting for that, does anybody have any, anybody else have any?
Yeah, I would, Mr. Chairman. I would
Okay.
ask, maybe we need a legal opinion, but we have this acceptance by Dudley Planning Board of submission A&R plan, and we have this checklist. The gentleman who was before us not that long ago seemed to suggest that this thing is pretty much not only meaningless, but given state statutes, irrelevant.
So, Mr. Clark, I actually looked into this pretty thoroughly. And as much as abrasive as he might have come across,
Right.
possibly to you,
Yeah?
he's
He is
got
right.
some points.
What you gonna say?
I was looking at specifically the property taxes being paid. The thing about that is, it's actually redundant, because if we grant an A&R, and let's say we hypothetically, we don't bother checking to see if the property taxes are paid. If we grant an A&R, the person can't take that lot and convey it to anybody legally without the taxes being paid. If they keep the lot and they decide they want to build on it, they can't get a building permit without the taxes being paid. So,
So it's something we might have to take on.
from a practicality point, it's not needed. Not to mention, when you look into subdivision, when you look into the state laws regarding subdivision of land and A&Rs in general, we're we're only supposed to make that determination you talked about. Does this qualify as a subdivision?
So this, you're suggesting that this form effectively has no relevance?
Well, I'm sure there's some things on there that we could probably
I-
find legal
you know,
relevance,
going-
but having town council take a look at the form and seeing whether or not we could pare it down?
If it conflicts with state statutes or something to that effect. I can remember, I'm deep going back into the deep recesses of my brain, if you will, but there was a now retired selectman, and it came up at a meeting that somehow the planning board had approved something, and the individuals who had the approval were delinquent as far as taxes were concerned, and he berated the planning board at great length for having allowed that to happen, when he thought that we should have had some way of checking or should have been aware of. And I don't know whether this specific item is on this list as a result of that or not. That would have been Mr. Joseph some years ago.
I think that had to do with subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, there is a town bylaw that states no board in town has to deal with any applicants for any services or provide any services to applicants if they don't have their taxes paid.
But I guess Mr. Clark's question would be, what if that town bylaw is actually in conflict with state law?
I don't know what to say, but I mean.
And I asked another engineer, another surveyor that I know, I asked him about it, and I said, well, why do you guys just always come in and fill them out and do what we ask you to do? And he said, because it's not that he's agreeing that we're necessarily in the right, it's that he just wants to get it done. And unlike this last individual, he doesn't want to necessarily fight town hall.
Well, let me ask you, have you seen examples like this? Is this something that other towns are using, or are we unique in that regard?
I think this is what some other towns are using as well.
Some other towns are using as well?
It's pretty, like,
Generic?
straight to the point and generic, yeah.
Now, oddly enough, we usually, when we need a form or something, we go to the state and we usually copy their regulations.
Yeah.
But in this case, because this stuff doesn't exist in state law, I don't know where it was born from.
Mr. Chairman, my guess is that there are requirements for a A&R plan, what has to be included in that A&R plan, either in the subdivision control laws or in the planner's guideline. There's some document that says what has to be included. And my guess is that we took from that list of what has to be included, what's required on that drawing, and put it in our checklist. As far as the taxes are concerned, the gentleman might have been right. When it comes before us, then taxes it doesn't matter, we have to sign it. The point is, the planner should not accept it to bring it before the board unless that. So Dudley has a checklist for accepting the plan. It's different than us approving the plan. So we have a checklist, we have to get that plan approved before it can be accepted and brought before the board. So those are two different things, in my opinion.
I would agree with you there. The only problem that creates is if that applicant brings it before the planner and the planner says, okay, the list isn't complete, I refuse to accept it. What's to stop him from going to the town clerk 21 days later and saying,
Hasn't been accepted.
sign it?
Hasn't been accepted. Hasn't come before the board.
It states right on the checklist that you must submit the plan during a regularly scheduled planning board meeting. The fact that Bill was taking them outside of meetings was a convenience for the engineers, and then he would present it to us at a regularly scheduled meeting. The clock doesn't start until it's submitted at a regularly scheduled meeting.
So do you want to set a policy that the
You have to get
planner
the agenda to do something like that. You
The
just can't
planner
walk in front and
does due
say, hey.
diligence before.
Well, to make matters worse, she's not able to be here all the time.
Right, so
So
I
somebody's
think-
gonna come and just bring that to,
I think-
well, somebody rightfully should bring the A&R to the clerk first, right?
Yep.
Right.
But I mean, like, I think.
No, I'm sorry, the town clerk.
I think we're gonna have to start going through these checklists ourselves at the meetings, because we don't have a person that's gonna be here on a regular basis that can do that.
I would
think-
think that he might.
I think now, because of the previous one, lesson learned, and with the other gentleman, I actually went through with it with him and was doing the checklist with him to make sure that was all set to go, so that was more of a smoother
You feel comfortable that you could do it?
Yes, I don't mind doing it, but I think if the A&R situation's gonna happen, yeah, I don't mind doing the due diligence and getting that
Okay.
approved.
I think it might be, excuse me, I interrupted.
Sorry.
A deeper question here in terms of whether what we're asking for, I don't know when this dates back to.
So this is.
How old is this?
I'm gonna stop your just right there, in the interest of saving time.
Yep.
This is gonna be a much more long and protracted.
Sure.
This is gonna need some research.
Yes.
What I recommend is, let me take a little bit of time. I happen to have somewhere in my office buried this wonderful book called the A&R Handbook.
Whoa.
And it's loaded with, and when I first became planner, I don't know how many years ago that was given to me. And it's called the A&R Plan Book, and in that, there's a ton of case law. And it's loaded with great stuff.
Okay.
Can I just add on? I think if we are going to do some changes to this checklist, maybe some further verbiage to help out someone like the second gentleman that's coming in and he actually had no idea what these certain things were, with a little bit of like an explanation, or maybe in the
Yeah.
back, this is what it is, or these are what are the key words, would
Okay.
be helpful.
So we'll kind of, that'll
Yeah.
be a little side project.
Yeah.
We'll kind of try and work that in over time.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
and work it out.
Thank
So-
you, Mr. Chairman, I think that's
All right.
reasonable.
So, was there any other comments from the board before I brought up my little comment? No? Okay. So, I printed this out. I printed out one for everybody. So this is just a little, talk about our regulations and stuff needing to be updated or whatnot. Did I print out? There we go. Okay, I thought I printed out enough. All right, so when I was going through the minutes for the last meeting, and I noticed at the beginning of the minutes, there was a mention about how, somebody asked about that minor site plan that we had down there at Village Street. And it said something about, because it was less than 8 units, I think was the answer that I think you gave at the last meeting regarding why it
7.
qualified as a minor site plan review.
I think it was 7 units, or it was 8,
Well,
7, yeah.
In the minutes it said 8, but regardless of that, the interesting thing is, if you actually look at the regulations for the town, projects requiring site plan review, projects requiring minor site plan review. The first problem I see is that there's kind of a typo here that doesn't make sense, because it says the construction of blah, 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 blah. It says 2 apartment units, but fewer than 7 apartment units. So we can all agree that fewer than 7 would be 1 through 6, correct?
Yeah.
And then if you go down to where it says major, if you look at the second paragraph, it says construction will exceed 7 units. Exceeding 7 units is 8 to whatever.
7.
So 7 is actually a magic number. If, according to these regulations,
It's an A&R, we have to sign it.
if you bring in an apartment complex with 7 units, you don't have to worry about that.
7's a lucky number.
Yeah.
Is that
So,
what that guy did? That's why he's not back here? He probably doesn't say.
okay, so that was the first thing I wanted to draw attention to, was that there's a little typo there that we, unfortunately, I think to fix it, we have to go to town meeting.
Yeah.
Right, but that's just something we should keep in mind. The second thing I wanted to bring to light was that regulation, both of those ones, actually don't apply to that applicant, because if you read it, it says, the construction or exterior expansion of any residential building or structure or change of use from commercial industrial to residential in any district where such construction will exceed 2 apartments. So, construction or exterior expansion of any residential building. In his case, he didn't expand the exterior. He broke it up into 7 units on the inside of the same footprint. The reason why he came before us for the special permit, Nelson sent them to us for a special permit, was because of number 3. The construction or renovation of parking facilities involving 5 but fewer than 10 additional parking spaces, with the exception of normal maintenance. So that's why he needed the special permit for his project, because of his parking spaces.
But he had more than 10 parking
He
spaces.
did, which brings me to the second, projects requiring major site plan review. Item 3, the construction or renovation of parking facilities involving 10 or more additional parking spaces, with the exception of normal maintenance.
That's additional. But does that include the original parking spaces he had?
Construction or renovation? He's renovating the.
He's renovating, he,
All right.
He redid the whole parking lot, he repaved it. He hasn't lined it, but he gave us a sketch saying that he wants to put, and he paved those sections up in the front, he added those other ones too.
I don't read that number 2 the same way as you, Mr. Chairman, where it says the construction or. There was construction. He gutted the building and renovated it, so that's construction.
The
It says
construction
or
of.
exterior
Okay, or,
expansion.
so if we take or exterior expansion, so if you just say the construction of any residential building or structure. So I see what you're saying,
He-
because of the full renovation, he
Yeah,
considered it
I
construction.
think it falls under, major site plan review too, because it was more than 7 apartments.
You know,
Was that seven,
It
or
was
he was-
7.
It was 7 apartments.
Seven, yeah.
It was-
Yeah,
Seven?
so he doesn't qualify for a major under number 2 because it says will exceed 7 apartments. That's the problem I was pointing out in the
Okay,
first thing.
will exceed, okay.
7's not covered. Up at the top, it says 6.
With regards to number 3, in terms of
Well,
the
you
parking.
can read the top part the same way, it's fewer than 7. He's not fewer than 7, he is 7.
Right.
So you should get kicked to the next one.
You should have gone to ZBA after us.
But he's got to, he's got to qualify, he's going to need a site plan review somehow,
Right. Well,
however you want to apply
the
it.
parking spaces, there are specific dimensions that each parking space has to be. I think it's 20 by 9.
Right, we already
And-
saw that was a deficiency.
That wasn't going to happen. At least it didn't look like it was, short of, I don't know what we'd have to do there.
Yeah, not that I wanted to help him with his application, but he should actually lose another parking space, have just 9 parking spaces, and come here and say, hey, I want to put 7 apartments in and only have 9 spaces, give me a waiver.
That wouldn't be under us, that would be under the CBA.
Even better. All right, that's all I have, gentlemen. This is,
The warrant is, I think, being put together for the upcoming October town meeting.
We don't have
Did they
anything
open the
on there.
warrant at the last Board of Selectmen's meeting?
We don't have anything though, right?
No, but you mentioned that we might want to make a change here to a bylaw.
Yeah.
Well, I think okay, yeah.
We can do it for the
Probably,
spring.
it would have to be rushed, yeah. Okay.
All right, so comments from the audience. Nobody is here.
We passed up Mr. Bill LePage / Mr. Shinaki. What are we gonna do about that?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. I totally forgot because I was waiting for, I got the letter right here. Okay, without objection, I would like to read Mr. LePage's email to the planning board. All right, no objection noted. This is addressed to the Dudley Planning Board. Dear Chairman and members, I am writing to inform you of my interest in being considered for the alternate position on the Dudley Planning Board. Respectfully, Bill LePage. Well, short and sweet. So that's where it stands. So we have an official notice from Mr. LePage that he is interested in the alternate position, and we have notification from Mr. Durgan that Mr. Chinaki is also interested in the alternate position. We don't appoint either of these. We make recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. So my only question is, do we send both recommendations to the both names to the Board of Selectmen and let them decide? Or do we hash it out right here? Or do you want to invite the 2 applicants in to the next meeting and have them make their case for why they should be on the, be considered as an alternate? Because I think we all know that in one situation, the alternate isn't all that important because the way our bylaws are constructed, the alternate can only sit in on special permits in the absence of a member, or in the case of a member that has to recuse themselves. On the other hand, historically, if you have a member resign, typically we've always tapped the alternate as their, so in that case, you literally could have a couple of guys that are vying for the next position on our planning board if somebody leaves.
As I recall, Mr. Chairman, I think we had some discussion about trying to expand or enhance the role of the alternate going forward. And again, that would require a bylaw change. A situation unrelated to the planning board, but we had a vacancy as far as the Board of Trustees for the library. And we had 5 applicants. One did not meet the date requirement, but we had 4 viable applicants. One would drop out, and we interviewed 3, and then by vote of the members, we decided on 1 to put forward to the Board of Selectmen. In other words, we did not present both names of the Board of Selectmen for them to choose. Our thought was that it was incumbent on us to present 1 as the preferred candidate, if you will. Not that the others weren't certainly qualified and would have, fulfilled the role very well.
But it sounds like you had some sort of, do you have some kind of interview process?
We did have an interview process, and it had to be video.
Oh.
It had to be an open meeting, it had to be videoed. And we had a system by which we asked, there were set questions, everybody was asked the same question, and we numerically ranked their answers or responses, and the numbers were totaled. And some of this was done in conjunction with, well, we had information that was provided by the assistant town administrator, Olivia, as regards to how to go about the process.
How much money are these trustees in charge of?
We don't get any of
It just seems like a very thorough
well,
vetting that you went through there.
yeah, well, we attempted to anyway, and
Well,
I don't know if all of that, there is a human resource protocol, so to speak, I guess, that applies in some of these situations. Maybe, I don't think the library would be unique in that regard.
all right, so does anybody have any suggestions as to how to handle this?
Put it on the agenda.
All right, so we're gonna put it on the agenda, but are you saying let's invite them in?
Yeah, invite them in,
Okay,
let them dig it out.
all right, you wanna put that in a motion?
I make a motion that we put it on the next agenda to fill in the alternate seat.
Second.
Or choosing an alternate seat, whatever.
To invite the members in
Yeah.
to,
Oh, we not even choose it, technically, we just
yeah.
nominate him.
I second.
Okay, all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
And if you'd like, Mr. Chairman, I could check with Olivia to find out what the, how to cross the Ts and dot the Is on this, to make it.
Let's do it. Otherwise, we're gonna have to like have them wrestle each other or something.
Rank them.
It's probably not.
Okay,
Oh, I would
so-
mention one other thing, the CMRPC quarterly meeting is tomorrow evening.
Yes,
I'm sure you
CMRPC,
will be there, I'm sure.
I will not be there.
All right, so Josefa, I need you to add that to your to-do list, to reach out to the 2 applicants for alternate of
Yes.
Dudley Planning Board
Yes.
and request their presence at the next scheduled
Yes.
planning board meeting, which is,
We're gonna set that now.
2 weeks from today.
So that's gonna be on the 25th.
What is that?
that's gonna be on what?
25th?
On the 25th of the glorious month of September.
It's my birthday.
Okay.
I'll take that one off.
That's gonna be, no, you don't take that one. All right, anybody wanna make a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Oh, no.
Whoa, we
We have other things.
We got money to give away?
Yeah, we have money, sorry.
Did not realize that.
Other business, sorry.
$392.
Oh, there's a whole nother page of this damn thing.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, you're saving paper, that's good.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we authorize payment of $392.39 to Graves Engineering as per invoice number 39310.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
Who seconded that?
David Durgan seconded that. Richard Clark made the motion, and the vote was unanimous.
Let's see, anything else? That's it.
How does that work now? Because do you remember how we made a decision a while back so that Bill had authorization to sign these? Does that now not, does that automatically apply to our interim town planner? Does she have the,
Excellent question. Do not know.
We could vote to give her authority.
I don't know.
okay, yeah, somebody want to make that motion? We'll take care of that right now.
Mr. Chairman, we'll make the motion that Jasiva can sign the vouchers for any of the
Invoices?
Invoices that come in before the planning board?
That are approved.
Yeah, that are approved by the planning board.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Unanimous.
Okay, unanimous.
How long are you here for? Did you extend your contract?
Yeah, I'm here till now, October 31st.
Maybe we should have said
Guy
just
Horn
around
made the motion.
Halloween.
Richard Clark seconded.
You
Unanimous.
planning on leaving us on Halloween?
I don't know, on Halloween,
sound- that
oh my
didn't-
God.
I don't know, didn't sound like commitment.
All right. Other town notices? None?
No, nothing.
Other correspondence? None? All right,
Make a motion, we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
I
Motion
need
to
one more
adjourn?
signature on this one. Oh.
Second.
Oh, oh.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
Yep.